Hello and welcome to TTV News with some latest events in Tây Ninh province, and now we come into details. Ladies and gentlemen, in the morning of September 21st, at Mộc International Border Gate, representatives of the Royal Cambodian Police Force handed over 92 Vietnamese citizens to Tây Ninh border guard. It is known that 71 of them fled the casino on September 17, 2022. The rest were freelancers who lost their identification documents and were also returned by Cambodian authorities. Immediately after receiving, the soldiers of the two border forces and the police quickly organized to collect information, verify the identity of each case before completing the dossier so that the citizens could return to their localities. Among 92 citizens receiving this time, there are 73 men and 19 women registered for permanent residence in 34 provinces and cities in the country. Most of them went to Cambodia to work in casinos in the form of skill gambling, tricking players into depositing money into virtual accounts provided by gambling companies. Many of these people have been exploited for labor by casinos, used corporal punishments when they did not earn enough income, and pressured their families to send ransom money. Dear audience, on September 21st, the supervisory delegation of the Provincial People's Council had a meeting with Tây Ninh Provincial People's Committee on the construction and implementation of the medium-term public investment plan for the 2021-2025 period in the province. Mr. Nguyễn Thành Tâm, Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee, Chairman of the Provincial People's Council, led the supervisory delegation and chaired the meeting. Mr. Dương Văn Thắng, Vice Chairman of the Provincial People's Committee, and leaders of relevant departments also attended the meeting. Accordingly, the total capital construction investment in the 2016-2020 period is more than 15,800 billion Vietnam dong. Tây Ninh province has disbursed 14,140 billion Vietnam dong, reaching 89.1% of the plan. In the 2016-2020 period, 242 works and projects have been completed and put into use, contributing to the completion of the province transport infrastructure, step by step developing the transport system connecting with other provinces and cities in the region and with the provinces of the Kingdom of Cambodia. For the medium-term public investment plan for 2021-2025 period, Tây Ninh province implemented over 23,745 billion Vietnam dong out of the total assigned state budget capital, increased by 49.6% compared to the previous period. The total number of works and projects on the list of medium-term public investment plans for the 2021-2025 period is 201 projects, of which 170 new projects have started construction compared to the previous period, reduced 69 projects. To speed up the implementation, the Provincial People's Committee has established a working group to promote disbursement of public investment capital in 2021 and 2022 in the province. The team regularly organizes meetings to review, check, urge, give opinions, handle and remove difficulties and obstacles for the units in order to speed up the disbursement progress of the project. However, besides the achieved results, the monitoring delegation of the Provincial People's Council also pointed out limitations in the implementation of the province medium-term public investment plan for the 2021-2025 period. Concluding the working session, Mr. Nguyễn Thành Tâm suggested that the Provincial People's Committee should quickly develop and hand over the annual capital construction investment plan to ensure the deadline for investors to implement from the beginning of the year. At the same time, urgently develop and propagate regulations on principles, criteria, and capital allocation norms for the implementation of pre-national target programs in the 2021-2025 period. The Provincial People's Committee should regularly monitor, inspect, and urge to speed up the implementation progress, disperse investment capital, direct investors to accelerate the progress of delayed works and projects, strictly handle the investor who commits a violation, promptly resolve difficulties and problems in the implementation of the public investment plan, at the same time take measures to handle cases of inefficient investment, causing waste, cases of transferring investment capital, and late settlement due to subjective reasons. Turn to other news. The audience implementing official letter 5658 dated August 30, 2022 of the Government Office on the implementation of the Law on Environmental Protection in 2020, the Chairman of TayNinhTV Provincial People's Committee proposed the provincial departments, branches, and the People's Committees of the district, towns, and city, People's Committee of commune, wards, and townships to implement plans of implementing the Law on Environmental Protection in 2020. Accordingly, the People's Committees has been directed to urgently implement the Law on Environmental Protection 2020, deeply propagate and disseminate new policies on environmental protection to people and businesses in the area, especially the collection, classification, storage, and transfer of waste at shore, cost of collecting, transporting, and treating daily life solid waste, in order to gradually change the thinking, awareness, sense of responsibility for environmental protection, create consensus in society in law enforcement on environmental protection. The Provincial People's Committee assigned the Department of Natural Resources and Environment to continue monitoring and updating the guiding documents on the implementation of the Law on Environmental Protection of the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment and related ministries, branches, to advise the Provincial People's Committee to propagate guidelines and policies in a timely and correct manner. The provincial departments and branches of the province, the People's Committees of districts, towns, and cities, the People's Committees of communes, wards, and townships shall, based on their assigned functions and tasks, to organize the implementation within the prescribed time limit. With the requirement to improve the capacity and operational efficiency of the trade union staff while perform the functions and tasks of the grassroots trade union organization, the Provincial Labour Confederation cooperated with the Provincial School of Politics to organize a professional training course for trade union officials in 2022, opening in the morning of September 21st, 2022, at the headquarters of the Provincial Labour Confederation. During 3 days, the trainees will study and research 5 topics directly related to grassroots trade union activities, working class in the period of integration and development, the current worker movement and trade union activities, skill of grassroots trade union officials in occupational safety and hygiene at the workplace, propaganda and women's work, provide professional guidance on accounting of the grassroots trade union, and new regulations and guidelines on trade union finance. The training course is presented and guided by lecturers and reporters from the Provincial School of Politics and the Provincial Labour Confederation in order to have trade union officials have a deeper understanding of the functions, duties, and powers of the trade union, gain more knowledge and experience in both theory and practice. From the beginning of 2022 up to now, the animal husbandry and veterinary sector has performed vaccination for livestock and poultry in accordance with regulations. Thanks to the good implementation of vaccination, disinfection, and sterilization since the beginning of the year, the whole province has completed the second phase of 2022 with more than 150,000 doses of vaccines against diseases in livestock. Chiaothan is one of the localities with the largest total livestock and poultry herds in the province, especially with many small breeding households. Today, farmers in Chiaothan have a high awareness of vaccination, disinfection of barns, etc., to prevent diseases from arising. Up to now, Chiaothan Animal Husbandry and Veterinary Station has carried out vaccination against foot and mouth disease in the whole district with 2,450 doses, reaching 32.6% of the target. Completed vaccination against clumpy skin disease with 7,300 doses, reaching 100% of the target. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to support people, especially disabled, the elderly and sick people with difficulties in obtaining citizenship or take a chip, the police force has provided a free ride to take the people to identification points. These zero-dome cards are still rolling every day, showing the spirit and responsibility of police officers and soldiers in the campaign to issue identity cards to the people and are a good proof of the image of the people's public security for the people to serve. Not only working overtime, the police force for the administrative management of social order and the police of districts, towns and cities also arrange vehicles to pick up the elderly, disabled and sick people who have difficulty in movement at their homes to go to the identity card with chips. From early morning, the roads and alleys in the Tagdao district were crowded with buses to transport people to work, chip-mounted identity cards with loud laughter. This is a practical and meaningful job, thereby receiving rights, response and support of the majority of the people, demonstrating the sense of responsibility, the motto respect the people, close to the people, wholeheartedly serve the people of TayNinhTV Police Force. Tân Châu district is an area with a relatively large area. Many places are far from the administrative center, so it is difficult for people to go through procedures here. On the other hand, this identity card is to exploit citizens' data directly from the National Population Database System. The collection equipment must be placed at the police stations of communes and townships for use. Sharing the connection line, the transportation of people to the police headquarters of the communes and townships for identity card is one of the solutions implemented by the unit, trying to complete the schedule during the peak period until the end of September 30, 2022. It is necessary to arrange vehicles to transport people to identity card and bring them home, and also to ensure the daily target set out. We have contacted and mobilized two passenger transport units in the area, which are Lê Khánh and Huệ Nghĩa. Over the past time, these two units have cooperated and supported the transportation of citizens very well. In addition to lending vehicles, if they can take the initiative in advance of the time to pick up citizens, the two units also arrange to assign more drivers to support. On the other hand, we also mobilize available vehicles of the unit and personal cars of officers and soldiers to serve the transportation of people. According to statistics of Tân Châu District Police, the locality has around 38,000 households with around 115,000 people. As of September 18, the locality has issued over 104,000 cases of the number of people eligible for identity card with chips. For the remaining cases that have not been granted due to working as a worker or going to work far away, the unit will make a separate list and arrange an appropriate time and make an appointment with the citizen to make a chip-mounted identity card. In Tân Binh District, in order to best serve the people, the leaders of Tân Binh District Police constantly encourage officers and soldiers to make efforts, overcome difficulties, increasing overtime, including Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays. Being present with the working group to issue and change identity card at Tân Binh Town Police Department can understand the hardship of police officers and soldiers who are dedicated to serving the people day and night. The working group arranged on-site forces to receive identity card application dossiers for people when they came to carry out procedures for identity card replacement. On the other hand, arranged forces to come to their homes to pick up to the workplace of identity cards. Only a few moments until December 31st, 2022, identity card with electronic chip integrated with identity card information will be the document for citizens to make transactions to replace household registration book. 10 provincial police are actually implementing, especially during the peak period of issuing identity card with chip until September 30. With the common spirit of creating favorable conditions for people in terms of time and procedures, but still ensuring the correct process and regulations in the issue and management of identity card. Currently, the provincial police require the police and districts, towns and cities to gather forces to soon complete the issuance of identity card with chip for citizens. That's all for today's TV news. Thanks for watching and see you next time.